Good afternoon. My name is Hunter Umenik, and today I am going to share with you my data action model for Phase 9. This was for CHD 450, and I was in group number 4. Here is an overview. The data our group received was a Teaching Strategies Gold Report of the summer 2019 and 2020. Checkpoint for 3 students who attend preschool at the Village in California, Pennsylvania. This data action plan was designed to analyze assessments formed from the preschool students in order to help our group review and understand the data and develop a plan to implement. The 4 data meetings that my group and I had were gathering and reviewing data, identifying the gaps, planning for action, and reflection and presentation. Here is a breakdown of the data action model. Data meeting 1. My group and I worked on the Notice and Wonder protocol. Data meeting 2. We did the artifact tracking sheet and discussing additional data. For the data meeting 3, we found learning and instructional gaps, and we also decided on our SMART goals. For our group specifically, we only created one SMART goal. Data meeting 4, we worked on it and created our action plan. Phase 6 is where we had to have peer review by a teacher in the field, and based on the review given by the teacher in the field, we made a revision to our action plan. Here's a background of the students' information. All students were male. All students attended preschool and still attend preschool at the Village Learning Center. Students follow the same schedule for the 5 days they attended. Content area focus that my group chose was science and technology. Data observed throughout the performance assessment task. The initial data given were my teaching strategies objectives. Here are the following objectives: social and emotional, physical, language, cognitive, literacy, mathematics, science and technology, social studies, and the arts. Additional artifacts that my group chose to use: daily schedules, CC Preschool, and the preschool winter results. Phase 1. Gathering and reviewing data. This phase was done collaboratively with my group. The system used for this data collection from the 3 male students was Teaching Strategies Gold. The type of data collected was social, emotional, physical, language, cognitive, literacy, mathematics, science and technology, social studies, and the arts. The data can be used by the general education teacher, administrators, paraprofessionals, and various other team members. Phase 2, Data Meeting 1, Gathering and Reviewing Data. For this, we completed the Notice and Wonder protocol. Here is an overview of the initial data. There was a consistency within the data of the 3 male students. Explanatory questions that were asked by our group. When student DS is only compared to the other students, why does it appear that he is always scoring above the norm? What do his scores look like when compared to the other students in his class? Additional data that we thought would be helpful: ages or birth dates of the students, any medical notes that are given about the students, and examples of the students' work. Possible causes: the instructional strategies used by the teacher could be the cause of the gaps in the instruction. Phase 3, Data Meeting 2, Triangulating. We completed the artifact tracking sheet. We addressed if there were artifacts given were observed learning gaps or observed instructional gaps. relative significance, how important are the skills or the concepts, and the prominence. Artifacts that we observed. Data table, P.S. Winter, October 19th, 2020, Science and Technology Scoring Chart. Data table, P.S. Winter, October 19th, 2020, Social Studies Score Chart for Geography. And the preschool lesson plans from Monday the 19th to Friday the 23rd. Phase 4. Data Meeting 3, Determining Gaps and Goals. Identifying Gaps chart was completed for Data Meeting 3. Here are the learning gaps. The students are not meeting program expectations in science and technology. They are emerging learners. Here is our SMART goal that we created. The 3 pre-K students will use their learning centers to increase their science and technology objectives from emerging learners to meeting program expectations by 40% of the categories within a month. And the evaluation metric that we chose to use, the teacher will use a formative assessment by using activities from the learning centers. Data Meeting 4, Planning for Action. Here is our action plan tracking sheet, and this is also an updated one given the revision by my mentor teacher. Our instructional task, how it will be done. Learning centers and small group instruction. The learning centers. Teacher created /led learning centers. Each student will be provided activities, lessons, and books on a specific content area. Example, math, counting, reading, science, art, and writing. The students will have the centers available to them daily. Each center will be able to hold more than one child, so both independent and group work will be implemented. Who will do it? The general education teacher. The frequency, the students will spend time in each learning center daily. Completion date is within a month. And the artifacts that the teacher would use, collected from the students, are student work, observations, and lessons or activity plans used for the centers. The revision I made for our action plan tracking sheet, I added small group instruction. The teacher will create activities for the small group instruction. The activities will focus on technology and science and also combining them. The students can closely be monitored and instructed in the small group instruction based on the learning objectives. This also gives the teachers the opportunity to adapt the lessons based on the students. The group instruction can make sure each student is learning and using their full potential. The teacher will conduct these small group instructions for about 15 to 30 minutes each day. The general education teacher will be the one to implement the small group instruction. The students will spend time in the small groups daily. Completion date is within a month, and the artifacts used to track the students' work is students' work, observations, and anecdotal notes, lessons, or activity plans. Phase 6, peer review. Mine was reviewed by a high school French teacher at Elizabeth Forward High School. I scored between mostly a 2 or a 3. The suggestion given. After looking over the action plan, one suggestion that I have for the teacher candidate would be to add another tactic method or instructional tactic to this plan. For not knowing the background information on the students, this could be beneficial in meeting their learning styles. This can also take into consideration the students' behaviors as well as how they do in certain learning environments. Also, for science, maybe include some hands-on activities centered around the students' learning objectives. Phase 7, revisions made based on my action plan. I added additional instruction tactic, which is small group instruction. I added an explanation on how the instructional tactic will be taught. who will teach it, how often it'll be implemented, the completion date, and the verifying artifacts. I also added a completion date to the SMART goal. Here are some self-assessments and reflection given for myself, and I gave myself a 4 or a 5 in most categories. I stated that I worked well in the group that I was in, had to consult with my team members from time to time. While working on the PAT, the struggle was finding certain things and using state standards to align with the objectives. Here are my strengths and areas of growth. My weaknesses, some include finding adequate data to back up our information. I had to consult with my teammates from time to time on where to find the data, creating the action plan tracking sheet and deciding if we needed another additional or instructional tactic. And here are some of my strengths. Working on data meeting 3 with determining gaps and goals, we decided that science and technology would be our main focus. And also, our group worked well together in order to get PAT phases 1 through 5 completed. And here is my references. Thank you so much for watching.